Alright, this is breaking news. I don't usually cover the Eastern Pacific too much. I usually do stick with the Atlantic Ocean because it's a little bit more interesting. But Elida now has now become a hurricane, which was previously a tropical storm. We now have this being a hurricane, Hurricane Elida. Elida becomes a hurricane, as you can see here from the latest National Hurricane Center update. So this is as of 4:45 Eastern Time. This was made at 3 p.m. MDT, not sure what that stands for. So, the update came out like 15 to 30 minutes ago. So, this is breaking news. Winds of 75 mile per hour, a pretty high pressure of 999 millibars, but it's still, acceptable for a hurricane. And it's moving northwest at 14 miles per hour. Now, the next couple of days, it's pretty much going to be moving like this at a pretty steady pace of around 50 miles per hour. So as you can see from the track right there, um, again, it's just going to be pretty much moving in the same general direction as it moves and then weakens to a tropical depression by Friday, it looks like. But it could still be a hurricane by Wednesday afternoon. So we'll see if that holds up or not. But yeah, it's not going to be affecting inland. I'm sure it brought some pretty heavy, swells and waves to the coast of Mexico here and there. But, nothing too major, I think. I'm not sure if anyone lives in those tiny islands here, but, if so, they probably got some force winds and gusts, even maybe a hurricane force gusts, but I'm not sure if anyone lives there, to be honest. But to watch out in the Eastern Pacific, though, we do have quite a lot of areas. Two here with a 60% chance, this one right here, and that one right here, two of them, and then that one with a 20% chance. I actually was on board with this one earlier this morning. If you haven't seen my tropical weather update, I do them usually daily, and I cover the entire world. Go check it out for the latest update in the entire world. Link, you just go check it out, And in the Central Pacific, we also have this. It's the same one, but it's actually in the Central Pacific more. And this, if it continues, maybe potentially it could be one of the first tropical cyclones in the east of the Central Pacific. I don't know if they name it the same name as the Eastern Pacific. I think they do. So it will be the same name, but it's gonna be moving maybe this general direction. If it does make it, maybe potential threat for Hawaii, but seems very unlikely. But we'll see. You're gonna have to watch that just potentially. Just in case. So here's a look at the satellite imagery, and it's been looking better and better. It does look like there isn't an eye clearing out quite yet. We'll see if that starts to happen or not. But you can clearly see the rotation, and it looks like it might be trying to form an eye, but it's a little bit unsure whether it is or not forming an eye. But potentially it does start to clear out an eye eventually. But as you can see, it is moving in the general direction right there, and you can clearly see it, move in the center here. Now it's not that big of a system, but we'll see if an eye does develop somewhere around here as it kind of spins around. But right now we can't see an eye on the IR. We probably could see an eye on radar, as we see with most of those systems. Let's look at the visible high resolution, because I do like to look at that. And very similar story there. Again, not all category ones have eyes. So if you were wondering why it potentially wouldn't have an eye, but it is wrapping around pretty clearly. We do have all this outflow here and there, kind of outflowing from the system. So it is a very healthy storm. And then you can see this wrapping around very nicely in this latest frame with those outer bands here. You can see that band, a couple of bands, especially that big band on the southern, or yeah, kind of the southern side. So it is looking very nice right now. Ocean analysis. Ocean temperatures aren't too much of a problem right now. Around 30 to 29 degrees water. So those are absolutely fine for tropical development. Also, the Nino index continues to get lower now, pretty much at minus 0.5 degrees. So we'll see if that continues to lower or if it picks back up, like it did in May, where it dropped to 0.6, minus 0.6, and it did went back up to plus 0.2. But we'll see if this continues. But right now, it is a weak La Nina, and we're just gonna have to see if that trend to having a stronger La Nina continues. But if that continues, we're definitely going to be seeing less wind shear and a possibility for further development in the Atlantic Ocean as this continues. In terms of the other system that we are tracking right now, it does look like some of them could definitely form. We'll have a quick look at the GFS for the Eastern Pacific just to see what we could be dealing with and if any of this could have impact to land, which at the moment does seem like uh, that most likely won't have too much impact to land, but I do like to check it really quick. Here's a look at the GFS 990, 989, kind of same thing here. This is where Elida, Hurricane Elida, I think that's how you pronounce it, is. And in the next couple of days, it's going to strengthen a little bit according to the GFS, but nothing too major. This is the first one. This is what the National Hurricane Center has marked as a 60%. This is the second area that's marked as a 60%. So as you can see, the GFS does form both areas there, and then here is what's also marked as a 20% here, and it does form both as a potentially tropical depression, maybe tropical storm, and then it looks like it also forms that 20% chance there. I like that. The 60% area right here, the GFS does make it a hurricane, and then that 20% there down there, GFS does also go with a hurricane with that one, potentially a major hurricane with this 948 millibars, 941, 939 millibars. So very potentially a major hurricane if it is going to form. And then that one also in the middle, let's see if it could bring a threat to Hawaii. So right now the GFS forms every single one of them, believe it or not, which is rather interesting to say the least. Here's that other one that I was talking about. It doesn't show it impacting. It looks like, yeah, it doesn't really show it impacting too much in the Central Pacific, thankfully, but it does form a potentially as a tropical storm. So we're definitely gonna watch out for that because if the GFS is true, we could have on our hands nothing that could necessarily impact land. It seems like, but if it is true, we would be looking at looks like maybe one hurricane with that one major hurricane with this one, and then one tropical storm with that one. This is what the GFS shows right now. It shows this becoming a Category 1 hurricane, this becoming a weak tropical storm, and then the third one here becoming a Category 3 or even 4 hurricane, it looks like. So we're definitely going to have to track those, but right now it looks like none of them will have impacts to land if they are to form and if they follow what the GFS shows.